News exclusive with two American veterans who went to Ukraine to fight the Russians and were captured, spending more than 3 months in captivity. They say they were tortured. We want to warn you, some of the details are tough to hear. Whit Johnson has the story. Good morning, Whit.
George, good morning. These men knew the U.S. government did not want them to travel to Ukraine. They knew that some would question why they would put their lives on the line to fight in a foreign war. But they insist they could not stand the images of innocent Ukrainians fleeing their home. And they say despite their harrowing ordeal, they have no regrets.
There were a lot of times that I would think, you know, I am going to die.
American military veterans Alex Druki and Andy Huynh taken into Russian custody while volunteering to fight for Ukraine, surviving 105 days in captivity.
My mission was to keep Andy alive. Andy's mission was to keep me alive.
What was it like hearing your friend screaming in pain?
I mean, it's awful because I know he's in pain, but at least I knew he was alive. You know, it was good and bad at the same time.
So just those little moments, just to recognize each other's presence.
Right.
Yep, it's like
gave you a little bit of strength.
Yes, little sparks of hope.
Both say they felt called to serve in Ukraine, despite the risks and repeated warnings.
Did it give you pause that the State Department, the president himself said, don't go?
Yeah, I definitely researched it. The U.S. government will not be backing me up on this. And I was aware of that. I was 100% aware of that. It scared me. I still know I had to go.
Andy and Alex were living in Alabama, but didn't know each other before meeting overseas. Their very first mission in the spring would be their last.
How quickly did it go wrong?
Real quick. The fog of war is a real thing.
What should have been a simple recon mission wasn't a simple recon mission.
We did manage to evade the enemy, trying to make our way back home on foot for about 8 hours, working our way through thick woods.
We have to worry about drones, landmines, tripwires.
And then you were captured.
When we surrendered, they stripped us all our equipment. They put us on our knees, bound our hands, put bags on our heads, and we were pretty darn sure they were going to execute us.
When those moments occurred, who were you thinking about?
My first thought was actually my fiance. was my first thought. Then like a split second right after was like, oh, I'm gonna die.
They're taken behind enemy lines. This photo, posted online by a known Russian propagandist, shows the two men on that journey in the back of a military truck.
A couple times we physically got beat and said, welcome to Russia. So like that was kind of a telltale sign that we were in Russia.
They woke us up at like 3 in the morning one time and just, for no reason, just beat us. They cracked 4 of my ribs for no reason.
At one point, you guys were moved to what was called a black site.
We call it the black site because it's a place that doesn't exist because things happen there that shouldn't happen. That's where the real interrogation and torture actually happened.
Some of their injuries still visible today. Bruises on their wrists from tight bindings. Andy's back covered in scars from relentless bed bugs. They say their captors even gave them electric shocks during interrogations.
It's not just physical torture. There was a lot of mental torture. I mean, we were sleep deprived. We were purposefully dehydrated. We were put in a lot of stress positions that, honestly, some of those are worse than the punches.
When they were interrogating you, what kind of information did they want?
A lot of it was verification. They swore up and down that we were CIA, secret, covert government operatives.
The two men eventually appearing on Russian television, delivering pro-Russian propaganda messages they say were filmed under duress.
What were some of the things you were forced to say?
How great Russia is and how great Putin is.
Did they tell you what would happen to you if you didn't follow the script?
Rape, murder, kill you, cut off fingers.
Back in the U.S., Alex's mother and Andy's fiance making public pleas for their safe return.
I know that with everybody working on it, we're going to get them home.
Not knowing at the time that the Saudi government was quietly arranging a prisoner swap between Ukraine and Russia. Finally, Alex and Andy were told they'd be freed, but say those last hours of captivity were the most trying.
We were bound again. We had bags put on our head. They took packing tape and tightly wrapped that around our eyes and then locked us together in the back of a military truck.
How unbearable was it?
We prayed for death. We just wanted to die. We just wanted to end.
You prayed for death in this moment.
In my head, even though I was like, even if it is an exchange, I don't care. This just has to stop.
We wanted to die, yeah. The process to getting freed was a very high price.
Their flight to freedom landing in Riyadh on September 21st before they headed back home to the U.S.
I didn't fully believe that I was getting released until a U.S. Embassy representative said, "This is real, brother. You are being exchanged. This is real. You are safe."
You have no regrets?
No regrets.
Would you go back?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah. I think I'd go back in a slightly different capacity. I would go back for rebuilding after the war.
For me, I know my fiance, my family, like her family, they all say no.